Admiral Frank Donovan stood before the Galactic Council, his face showing no emotion as the alien from Silver shouted about humans. This was the third such meeting in 3 weeks, each one more hostile than the last. "The humans keep breaking council rules," said the fish-like alien, its gills moving with anger. "Their warships in the Orion area are a threat to everyone." Donovan looked at Ambassador Olivia Martinez, Earth's main diplomat and his old friend. They had planned for this moment during many late nights, weighing what would happen if they took the step they were about to take. The truth was clear. The Council no longer valued humans. "I would like to speak," Martine said, standing up. The room went quiet. "For 60 years, humans have helped this alliance. We've created new technology, found medical cures, and fought alongside you in 3 space wars." She paused and looked around at all the alien representatives. "Yet you always question our right to govern ourselves, limit our colonies, and watch and restrict our defenses." The Kelvin, a crystal-like being, cut in. "Your kind is too unpredictable. We must control you." Martinez nodded as if she expected this answer. "Then maybe it's time we stop trying to fit into a system that was never made for us." She placed a small crystal on the main table. "This contains Earth's official exit from the Galactic Council, effective now. All human worlds will operate on their own from this point forward." The room exploded with noise. The draconian leader banged his staff, trying to restore order. "You cannot just walk away from your duties," he shouted. Admiral Donovan stepped forward. "Watch us." The next day, human ships began to leave Council space. Military vessels were first, followed by civilian transports. At the main spaceport, crowds gathered as families boarded ships bound for Earth and human colonies. Captain Eric Butler supervised the evacuation of the human quarter on the Council's capital world. "Keep moving, folks. 1 bag per person. We leave in 3 hours." A young boy tugged at his uniform. "Captain, why are we leaving? This is my home." Butler knelt down. "Sometimes, son, you have to leave to make others understand your worth." In the council chambers, emergency sessions ran day and night. The alien representatives argued about what to do. "Let them go," said the Vulcan diplomat. "They will return when they realize how much they need us." "You don't understand humans," warned the Andorian representative. "They don't make empty threats." On the orbiting human station, Ambassador Martinez watched the planet below as she prepared for departure. "Are we doing the right thing?" asked her assistant. "The Council has taken us for granted for too long," Martinez replied. "They restrict our growth, dismiss our concerns, and still expect us to solve their problems. Sometimes you have to walk away to be valued." Within a week, the last human officials left Council space. Signs of their absence appeared almost immediately. The Council's advanced defense system, designed by humans, started showing errors. The medical stations reported shortages of treatments that human doctors had provided. As her shuttle departed, Martinez sent one final message to the Council. "We gave you our best for 60 years. Now we will focus on our own future. When you're ready to treat us as equals, you know where to find us." On Earth, President Russell addressed the people. "Today marks a new chapter for humanity. We stand alone, but we stand tall. The stars are still within our reach, on our own terms this time." 3 months after the announcement, the human withdrawal was almost complete. Like a tide going out, humans disappeared from Council space quietly but thoroughly. Paul Evans, chief engineer at the Arcturus Trading Hub, shut down the main power grid he had maintained for 15 years. His alien assistant, Zix, watched with sad eyes. "You could stay," Zix said. "Many would protect you." Evans shook his head. "Earth has called us home. All of us. But who will fix the systems? Who will understand how they work?" Zix's 3 eyes blinked rapidly in distress. Evans handed Zix a small datapad. "Basic instructions. It's all I'm allowed to leave. The Council said humans shared too much technology. Now they'll see what happens when we share none." Across Council space, Similar scenes played out. On the medical station orbiting Proxima Centauri, Dr. Susan Miller packed her equipment. The alien doctors watched in silence. "The vaccine production must continue," said Chief Medical Officer Trell. "Thousands will die without it." "I've left the formula," Miller replied. "Your scientists can figure out the rest. It will take years." Miller stopped packing for a moment. "When I warned the council about the coming disease outbreak, they ignored me. When I asked for more resources, they said no. Now it's your problem." The human exodus happened without violence or sabotage. They simply left. They took only what belonged to them, but somehow that seemed to be everything that mattered. At the largest council shipyard, human engineers removed key components from joint projects. Where alien designers had created beautiful but impractical ships, humans had added the small, crucial parts that made everything work. "You cannot take that control system," protested the Tellarite supervisor. "It's shipyard property." Chief Engineer Bill Foster looked up from his work. "Check the patents. Human design, human made, human owned." On the farming world of New Eden, once the council's biggest food producer, human farmers harvested their last crops. The council had allowed humans to settle only on marginal worlds that other species didn't want. Through hard work and clever adaptation, humans had turned these unwanted planets into the most productive farms in council space. Farm owner Rita Jackson looked over her fields one last time. "The soil treatments will last another season if they're careful. After that, the yields will drop by half." "Will you miss this place?" asked her son. "This place?" "No," she said, "but I'll miss what we built here." The council finally realized the problem when supply shortages began. Food shipments slowed. Medical supplies became scarce. Repair parts for countless systems were suddenly unavailable. In an emergency meeting, the Draconian leader demanded answers. How did we become so dependent on one species? The Andorian representative laughed bitterly. "We gave them the jobs no one else wanted. The dangerous mining operations, the frontier colonies, the complicated repair work. We thought we were using them. They were becoming essential." Meanwhile, the human fleet gathered at the edge of council space. What the council saw shocked them. The humans had hidden their true military strength for decades. Where the council thought humans had 100 warships, nearly 500 assembled. Admiral Greg Wilson addressed his captains from the flagship Defiant. "For 60 years, we played by their rules. We accepted second-class status. We let them think we were weak. That ends today." The human ships formed up, and one by one, jumped to light speed, not attacking, just leaving. In council chambers, the alien representatives watched the sensor readings in silence. "Where are they going?" asked the Vulcan delegate. "Home," replied the Andorian. "And I fear we have no idea what they'll build there, now that they're free of our restrictions." 6 months after humans left, the council began to feel the true impact of their absence. On the central council world of Arcturus Prime, the main power grid failed for the 3rd time that week. Lights flickered in the Grand Council chamber as alien representatives argued. "This is unacceptable," shouted the Draconian leader, his scales turning dark red with anger. "How can the most advanced civilization in the galaxy not keep simple lights working?" Chief Engineer Vrel, a 4-armed Tellarite, looked exhausted. The power system was designed and maintained by humans for 50 years. They left basic instructions, but the system is too complex. My team doesn't understand how all the parts work together. "Then find someone who does," ordered the council leader. "There is no one," Vrel said simply. The humans trained only their own people on the full system. They offered to train others many times, but the council always refused, saying it was a security risk. In the medical sector, the situation was even worse. Dr. Lana Reed had been the only doctor who understood how to make the cure for blue fever, a deadly disease that affected many council species. Now she was gone, back to Earth with all other humans. "Deaths have reached 10,000, reported Medical Director Jacques. The formula Dr. Reed left is incomplete. We can't make more medicine. Did she sabotage it? Asked a council member. The medical director shook his head. No. We checked the records. The council never let her file complete documentation. They worry humans would have too much control over our medical systems. Food shortages hit next. The farming worlds once run by humans now produced only half the food. Council farmers didn't know how to grow crops in the difficult conditions humans had mastered. On the frontier world of Bellerophon, food riots broke out. Council peacekeepers struggled to maintain order. The people are hungry, reported Security Chief Gare. The human farmers made this desert bloom. Now we can't even grow enough to feed the colony. Trade suffered too. Human merchants had connected distant parts of council space, carrying goods where other species wouldn't go. Now remote colonies waited months for supplies that once came weekly. Captain Joe Ramirez, who had run supply routes to the outer colonies for 20 years, now worked in Earth space. From his new ship, he watched news reports about the council's problems. They thought we were just simple delivery people, he told his crew. They never realized we were the glue holding their economy together. The most alarming changes came in security. For decades, human soldiers had served on dangerous frontier posts that other species avoided. Now those posts stood empty or understaffed. On the border near the hostile Krell Empire, alarms went unheeded when scout ships crossed into council space. We've lost 3 outposts this month, reported Defense Minister Track. Without human troops, we can't cover the entire border. Why did we let humans hold so many critical positions? Asked a junior council member. Because they would do the jobs no one else wanted, answered an older representative, and we thought that made them less important, not more. In human space, life improved rapidly. Freed from council restrictions, humans expanded their colonies, built new ships, and developed technologies the council had forbidden. On Earth, President Russell met with her advisors to review reports from council space. They're struggling more than we expected, said Intelligence Director Ben Foster. And they're starting to realize why, added Ambassador Martinez. The question is, will they swallow their pride and ask for our help? They will, Russell said confidently, but only when things get much worse. Humans aren't the only stubborn species in the galaxy. As she spoke, on a distant frontier world, the first Krell invasion ships appeared in the sky, heading for a defense post that stood empty since the humans left. 1 year after humans left, fear began to spread through council space. It wasn't just the broken systems or food shortages that worried them. It was the unknown. What were the humans planning? Admiral Krell, head of Council Defense, stood before the emergency session. His blue skin looked pale under the lights. We have lost track of 80% of human military ships, he reported. Our sensors cannot find them. Are they hiding? Planning to attack? Asked the Silveran representative, tentacles twitching nervously. We don't know, Krell admitted. Human stealth technology always exceeded ours. Now they've gone silent. The council chamber erupted in worried voices. The head draconian banged his staff for order. What do we know about their activities? He demanded. Admiral Krell displayed a star map. They have created what they call human space. They patrol its borders but don't cross into our territory. They ignore our messages. Their ships just watch us, waiting. Far away, aboard the human patrol ship Vigilant, Captain Laura Wilson received the Council's latest scan attempt. Her ship's advanced systems detected the Council vessels long before they could spot her. They're looking for us again, she told her second-in-command, Officer Ryan Harris. That's the 5th scan sweep this week. Should we respond? Harris asked. Wilson shook her head. Orders are clear. We maintain silence. Let them wonder what we're doing. They'd probably think we're planning to attack, Harris said with a small smile. Good, Wilson replied. Fear might make them think about how they treated us all these years. The Vigilant continued its patrol along the border, invisible to Council sensors, but seeing everything that happened on the other side. Meanwhile, on Council worlds, problems continued to grow. At the Central Science Academy, research had almost stopped. Progress has fallen by 65% since the humans left, reported Science Director Elba to the Council. Many projects cannot continue without their expertise. Surely our scientists are more advanced than humans, scoffed a Council member. Different, not more advanced, Elba corrected. Humans made intuitive leaps our logical minds don't. They saw connections we missed. Without them, we follow old paths but find few new ones. In the mining colonies of the Rigel system, production had fallen to dangerous levels. The humans had worked the most difficult and dangerous mines, extracting rare materials needed for advanced technology. We cannot meet quotas, the mining director reported. No other species can work in the high-gravity sections where the best ores are found. The Council was facing a difficult truth. In 60 years, humans had become essential to almost every part of galactic society. On Earth, the human government watched these developments with careful attention. Defense Secretary Julia Dixon reviewed intelligence reports with her team. The Council is suffering exactly as we predicted, she noted. Their economy is struggling, their research is stalled, and their borders are vulnerable. Should we reach out to them? Asked one advisor. Offer to help? Not yet, Dixon replied. They need to understand what they've lost. Only then will they be ready to treat us as equals. At that moment, her communication panel lit up with an urgent message. She read it quickly, her expression growing serious. The Krell Empire has attacked 3 Council outposts near our border, she told her team. The very outposts humans use to defend. Should we respond? Asked her assistant. Dixon thought for a moment. Prepare a fleet, but keep it in our space for now. The Council rejected our warnings about the Krell for years. Let them face the threat alone first. And if they ask for help, then, Dixon said with a thin smile, we can discuss new terms for our relationship. As Council worlds faced growing problems, the human fleet grew stronger and more advanced every day. Freed from Council restrictions, human engineers created ships and weapons that would have been forbidden before. The Council had always feared human potential. Now they would discover if those fears were justified. 2 years after humans left, a new danger appeared. It started small, just a few attacks on distant outposts. Then it grew bigger and more frightening. The Council meeting hall was in chaos as reports came in from the outer colonies. 3 more worlds attacked this week, announced Defense Minister Grax, his voice shaking. Unknown ships appear, destroy our defenses, and vanish. 50,000 dead or missing. Who are they? Demanded the Draconian leader. Pirates. Rebels. Admiral Thex stepped forward, her gray skin pale with worry. We believe it's the Hive Collective. The room went silent. Everyone knew about the Hive, a race of insect-like aliens from beyond known space. They didn't trade or talk. They only conquered. Impossible, said the Vulcan representative. The Hive is just a story used to scare children. The humans warned us about the Hive for 20 years, said the Andorian delegate quietly. They claimed to have evidence. We never listened. On the frontier world of New Horizon, the Hive attacked without warning. Council defenders fought bravely but were quickly overwhelmed. The bug-like aliens moved through the colony, taking some people alive and killing others. Colony Governor Trax sent a final message before his outpost fell. They're real. The humans were right. We need help. The message reached Council headquarters as an emergency session was underway. Our forces cannot stop them, Admiral Thex admitted. We've lost 15 worlds in 2 months. Our weapons seem useless against their ships. How did this happen? Shouted a Council member. We have the largest fleet in known space. A fleet designed for peace, not war, said Thex. For 60 years, the humans handled our most dangerous missions. They developed battle tactics we ignored. They requested military upgrades we denied. On the Council's central world, Citizens began to panic as news of the hive spread. Supply shortages already made life difficult. Now fear made everything worse. In a private chamber, the highest council members met secretly. "We must ask the humans for help," said the Andorian representative. "They know the hive better than anyone." "We cannot show such weakness," argued the draconian leader. "Humans might use this situation to take control of the council." "There may not be a council left to control if the hive continues advancing," replied the Andorian. Meanwhile, in human space, President Russell reviewed the latest intelligence about the hive attacks. "Just as we predicted," said General Scott Davis, pointing to a star map. "The hive always follows the same pattern. Small attacks first, then larger ones. And the council is losing badly," added Intelligence Director Emma Grant. "Their defenses are failing exactly where we said they would." "Have they asked for our help?" Russell asked. "Not officially," said Grant, "but several individual council members have sent private messages begging for assistance." "What do you recommend?" Russell asked her advisors. Defense Secretary John Lewis spoke up. "We should prepare our fleet but wait for an official request. The council needs to acknowledge they were wrong about the hive. And about us." "And if they don't ask in time?" asked Russell. "Then we may have no choice but to act anyway," Lewis admitted. "The hive is a threat to all intelligent life, not just the council." In the shipyards of Earth, Mars, and a dozen human colonies, warships were being prepared. Unlike the council's elegant but fragile vessels, human ships were built for battle. Tough, heavily armed, and designed by engineers who understood war. Captain Steve Rogers walked through the massive hangar where his ship, the Defender, was receiving final upgrades. "Will we fight?" asked his executive officer. Rogers nodded. "The council ignored our warnings. They restricted our defenses. They dismissed our concerns. But when the time comes, we'll still save them." "Why?" "After how they treated us." Rogers looked at the starry sky visible through the hangar's open doors. "Because that's what humans do. We fight for those who can't fight for themselves, even when they don't deserve it." As he spoke, another council world went dark, its distress calls suddenly silenced by the advancing hive. After 3 months of debate, the council finally sent a formal request for human help. By then, 23 colonies had fallen to the hive collective, and millions of people were dead or captured. The message was simple. The Galactic Council requests immediate human assistance against the hive threat. Terms negotiable. President Russell read it aloud to her war cabinet on Earth. "Terms negotiable," she repeated. "After 60 years of telling us what to do, they're finally ready to talk." "Is it too late?" asked Vice President Andy Clark. "The hive has taken a quarter of council space already." Defense Secretary Lewis displayed a tactical map. "Our fleet is ready. We've been preparing for this fight for decades, even when the council forbade it." "Then let's not waste more time," Russell decided. "Send the response. Human forces are on the way. Our terms will follow." 3 days later, at the battlefront near Proxima Colony, council ships fought desperately against a hive attack force. Their weapons barely damaged the bug-like ships, and council vessels were being destroyed one by one. "We cannot hold," shouted Captain Jen of the council flagship. "All ships, prepare to retreat." Suddenly, his sensor officer called out, "New contacts." Hundreds of them, coming out of light speed. The space around them filled with ships, human ships. Not the few hundred vessels the council knew about, but over 500 warships of different sizes. They emerged from light speed in perfect formation, their weapons already targeting the hive fleet. Admiral Grace Chen's voice came over the communication channel. "Council forces, this is Human Fleet Command. Move your ships to Sector 4. We will handle the hive." "By whose authority?" Captain Chen began, but stopped as he watched the human ships attack. Unlike the Council's careful, distant approach to space combat, the humans fought aggressively. Their ships moved in coordinated patterns that seemed chaotic, but were actually precisely planned. Weapons the Council had never seen before tore through hive defenses. "They're using quantum torpedoes," whispered Jen's science officer. "Technology the Council banned 20 years ago." They built them anyway, Jen realized. All this time, within hours, the hive forces retreated. The human fleet suffered losses, but far fewer than the Council ships had in previous battles. Admiral Chen's flagship, the Defender, approached the Council command station. In the main conference room, Chen met with Council representatives, her uniform crisp and her expression serious. "How did you defeat them so easily?" asked the Draconian leader. "We've been fighting for months with little success. The hive uses a hive mind. They think as one," Chen explained. "We studied them for decades while the Council ignored our reports. Their attack patterns are predictable if you know what to look for." "And your ships," said the Vulcan delegate. "They're far more advanced than what you showed us before." Chen smiled slightly. "We showed you what you expected to see. The Council always underestimated humans, so we let you." "You deceived us," accused the Draconian. "We protected ourselves," Chen corrected. "The Council limited our defenses while dismissing threats like the hive. We had no choice but to develop in secret. And now you've come to save us," said the Andorian representative. "Despite our treatment of your people." "We've come to save innocent lives," Chen replied. "But there will be new terms for our relationship going forward." She placed a data pad on the table. On it was a new treaty, one that recognized humans as full equals, with the right to develop their technology, expand their colonies, and maintain their military without Council oversight. "This is outrageous," shouted the Draconian. "You're using this crisis to force your demands." Admiral Chen stood up. "These aren't demands. They're requirements for our continued help. Accept them, or we'll defend only human space and let the hive have the rest." The Council representatives looked at each other in silence. They had no choice, and they knew it. "We will bring this to the full Council," the Andorian said finally. "Do it quickly," Chen advised. "The hive won't wait, and neither will we." As she left the room, the Admiral allowed herself a small smile. After all these years, humans would finally have the respect they deserved. 5 years after humans left the Council, everything had changed. The Hive Collective had been pushed back beyond known space. The old Galactic Council no longer ruled alone. A new era had begun. On the planet Arcturus Prime, once the proud center of Council power, representatives gathered in a new chamber. The old Council Hall had been replaced by the Galactic Alliance Center. Here, humans sat as equals with other species, not as junior members to be controlled. Ambassador Jack Miller, Earth's chief diplomat, stood at the center of the chamber. Around him sat delegates from 50 worlds, including many former Council races. 5 years ago, humanity left this chamber, Miller began. "We didn't leave because we wanted to be alone. We left because we needed to be free." The delegates listened quietly. Many remembered the difficult days after humans departed, the broken systems, food shortages, and finally, the hive attacks. "We built our own future," Miller continued. "But we never forgot that we share this galaxy with you. When the hive threatened all life, we returned, not as servants, but as partners." The Andorian representative, one of the few who had supported humans in the old days, nodded in agreement. "Today we sign the new Alliance Charter," said Miller. "Not a document of control, but of cooperation. Each world governs itself. Each species develops in its own way. We face threats together, but live our lives apart." The Draconian delegate, once humanity's strongest critic, spoke next. "We must acknowledge our mistakes. For 60 years, we treated humans as tools to be used. We limited their growth because we feared what they might become." He looked around the chamber. And what did they become? The force that saved us all. In orbit above the planet, the combined fleet of the new Alliance patrolled. Human ships flew alongside vessels from a dozen worlds, all built with shared technology and knowledge. Admiral Lily Barnes watched from the bridge of the flagship Unity. Once the commander of Earth's secret fleet, she now led the Alliance Defense Forces. 5 years ago, "Did you think we'd be back here?" asked her second officer. "Not like this," Barnes admitted. "I thought we'd either stay gone forever or return under the old rules. I never imagined they'd finally see us as equals." "Fear is a powerful teacher," the officer replied. Barnes smiled. "So is gratitude." On Earth, President Russell prepared to step down after overseeing the most dramatic period in human history. In her office, she met with the newly elected President Carl Wilson. "The alliance is stable for now," Russell told him, "but never forget what we learned. Respect must be earned and maintained. No treaty guarantees it forever." Wilson nodded. "Some council races still resent us. They think we planned everything. Leaving, the hive attacks, our return as saviors. Did we?" Russell asked with a small smile. "Of course not. We couldn't have known the hive would attack when they did. But we knew they would eventually," Russell said. "We warned the council for decades. They ignored us until it was almost too late." In schools across human space, children learned about the Great Withdrawal and the War of Return. They were taught that independence had been necessary, but that cooperation was stronger than isolation. Teacher Sam Bennett explained to his class on Mars Colony, "We didn't leave the council to be alone. We left to be free to grow, to build, to become what we needed to be." A student raised her hand. "But why did we go back to help them? They were mean to us." Bennett smiled. "Because that's what makes us human. We fight when we must. We leave when we need to. But we help when we can." As night fell across the galaxy, ships from Earth traveled freely between worlds that once restricted them. Human colonies flourished on planets the Council had forbidden them to settle. New technologies, developed during the years of separation, improved life for all species. The Council had finally learned, sometimes you don't know what you have until it walks away. And sometimes it's almost too late when you realize what you've lost. But not quite.